What it do, what it do? Welcome to my YouTube show, Shots with Shooter. You know what I'm saying? Definitely love to have you on here. You had a lot to say about the Diddy Cassie case, man, the Diddy show.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
it's definitely a lot of people, I think maybe in their feelings more than thinking with logic, I would like to say. I see you getting attacked a lot, and I've been withholding my what I got to say online just because, I just want to see how everything pan out, right? Like everything that's actually being said, because we only got part of the case files, like all the indictment and all that stuff, but the story is really hitting now, and like all the freaky shit to me, it's just all the freaky shit. Like that shit don't really even matter. But I know we only at the first 3 days of the case with Cassie and what she's saying. And part of it for me is like, okay, some of that shit's some fucked up shit. Okay, she young as hell, right? Another part is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point in time do we give somebody accountability, right? She sued, she got the 20 million, but what is it really about? Once she got the 20 million, then in there it was like almost like to me, it was almost like a setup. So like, all right, I can sign the NDA or whatever. I can't put this book out. I guess it was a book that she sent Diddy. Can't put the book out, but what I can do is I could sue him, get the bread, then the feds could double back, and I could tell it all in a courtroom because that NDA or whatever agreement I signed does not supersede the legal system. And now we're gonna turn around and hit him with a double header, which he may or may not deserve is yet to be seen. But I was checking out your perspective, so I definitely wanted to, give you the platform so you could, speak on how you feel about it.
Man, to be honest with you, man, a lot of times I just like to play devil's advocate. You know what I mean? But from what I'm seeing, if I see too many people going one way, I automatically just decide I just need to go the other way because it just don't make no damn sense. The way that I see it, as far as the federal government is concerned, I don't believe the federal government gets everybody. I don't believe they're as correct as they would like us to believe that they are. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? So I don't believe that 100% of the people that they charge with crimes that they were actually being charged properly. And that's what I feel like with Diddy, right? It's obvious when you see what happened and you watch the videos, it's obvious that there was crazy levels of abuse that she went through. But my question is what they're charging him with, is that actually what he has done? You know what I mean? And I think people are so emotional and they see the videos and it creates like this visceral reaction that it's like, but wait a minute, we understand that, but what the feds are saying he's done as far as this RICO is concerned and sex trafficking is concerned, that's where stuff for me just gets like, we got to slow down and stop judging our friends. That's what got me involved. Is people is judging their friends simply because they're like, hey, let's wait for all the evidence or let's see what maybe Diddy has to say. And it's like this whole thing is set up to like pin people against each other, and we don't even know the truth yet.
So, the definition by dictionary of sex trafficking is the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for the purpose of sexual
Yeah.
exploitation. So, if he got his sex trafficking, who did he illegally exploit is what I kind of want to know. Like, I mean, they got rumors of him and young girls, and I don't condone no 19-year-old with no nigga that's my age right now. I'm about to be
Mm-hmm.
38 this year, 38,
Mm-hmm.
39. I don't condone that. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff that a young 19-year-old ain't even been exposed to. I seen one
Mm-hmm.
part where she was like, I went to talk about this deal and I'm excited and all that. He introduced me to oral sex. And it's like, so I mean, either she wasn't bucking back before or never had head before. Like that's how innocent she may be. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
like women don't lie neither. I mean, I don't know if she was a virgin at 19. She never said nothing like that. So it's like, and how many virgins at 19 have we ever known? I don't know. So you don't know what oral sex is. You gotta know at that time, and you old enough to come from the era of listening to all kinds of hip hop and music. You know what oral sex is. So he didn't. But I'm thinking introduce you like this is my first experience of it. But at 19, like this is your first experience. Like how do we differentiate how much is the truth and how much is let me put it on thick? So because a lot of that is perspective. And as far as you said about charges. Like, not even on a federal level, on a state level, people get charged like that. You commit one crime and you got five charges out of one crime. And it's like,
Yep.
damn, I broke five different laws out of just doing one thing, and because they can tie it into each other, and everybody know you go to court, you go to trial, you're not gonna get convicted of every single thing, but okay, when the jury might be like, we're not gonna convict him of this, we're gonna get him of that, or maybe by the grace of God, this might just fall in line with stuff that you find out in the trial, and then it might just work out. So I really don't know. I mean, like I said, sex trafficking. Who did he sex traffic? Was there any young people? Did he move them? Like, what's illegally? Because even like they ain't got to young MA, or no, not young the Miami young Miami chick, and the other ones that was bringing, like, okay, they was bringing illegal drugs from here to there. You
Hmm.
from Miami to New York, the 2CB and all that stuff, right? Or, I mean, I seen the stuff with Cassie, like, man, I got an iPad full of stuff, pictures, videos, give me my money. Yeah, you forcing people against your will, 100%, you wrong. But once again, does that fall under the guidelines of sex trafficking? And I've been kind of anti the diddler since all this shit popped off, because you do too much weird shit for me. Like,
Yep.
I'm not fucking with no weird shit, period. But
Hmm.
I'm with you on that. How much, what is he being charged with? What is he about to go do all this time for exactly?
I mean, for me, that's all I want to. I just want to wait and see attitude, and it feels like amongst our peers, everybody like, oh, he's just guilty of everything that the feds say he's guilty of, and that's where I just got to push back a little bit. Like, how can they? How can y'all feel so comfortable saying everything they say he did that shit, right? I think 50 Cent say that. Like, that's not how this should go, because the first thing that people will say to you is, well, you have a daughter, you raising a daughter, how would you feel? And my response back to that is, a lot of these women have sons. How would y'all feel if y'all son was being bombarded with a bunch of charges? They overcharging him with a bunch of stuff that he probably didn't do, just trying to get him to acknowledge or admit to doing some of these lesser crimes. So that's really where my arguments be, where my mindset is at. It's like, let's let this shit play out. Let's stop judging our friends just because we don't want to believe 100% of whatever Cassie say. It's almost like because she's pretty and pregnant, everything she's saying is like the 100% truth. And for me, I just got to see through all that bullshit. I've seen too many women, local women, lie on men just for just because he decided to move on. You know
Right.
what I mean? So like in my mind, I'm seeing people defend it, and it's just like y'all act like y'all don't understand how vindictive sometimes women can be when they feel like they've gotten effed over. And it's like we throw all of that logic out and all of this experience out that we have locally and say, nah, but in this situation, she's not trying to be vindictive. She's not trying to get back at him. You know what I mean? And I just don't know why people are so comfortable saying something, saying that all of this negative stuff that the feds are saying he did. Like that doesn't sit right with me.
I'm with you on that, right? Because I mean, of course, I've seen it too, and it's like,
Hmm.
to me, sometimes it's so much of a girl power that, like, I mean, I get it. We put women on a pedestal too, right? Women are up here on certain pedestals, and we think you should hold yourself to certain regards and not be hoes and not be out here moving like men is moving. But then, like, women don't want to take the accountability for women either. Like, oh, you don't know how being a victim is and all that stuff. I mean, you even have my cousin on there speaking on some stuff or whatever too. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, people have been victims of domestic violence, sexual crimes, and all kinds of stuff like that. But I was talking to a girl not too long ago, right? And it's like, okay, I told her at first you was a victim, and you was a victim for this X amount of time. But when you had the opportunity to get out of a situation, you invited it back. So then you became the enabler because you knew it was wrong. You got out of a situation, it was done for, and then feeling back or feeling bad or feelings in general, you sit there and you let somebody come back in that you know is abusing you after they took everything from you that you thought you had. You invited them back to take some more, and then it's like, like I said, it is all of a vindictive thing to me when, all right, you got your bread and now you testifying in court. If you like, I mean, 20 million to Diddy still ain't nothing. It might have been from Bad Boy because you were employee, so you're really suing a label that he owns, and that's when insurance come in. So the 20 million might not even touch Diddy, right? But
Hmm.
it comes to a point where the girl power shit where no matter what, you give your girls grace, but you slam the nigga. And that's where I have a problem with it when, if a woman beating up on a man and doing all kind of shit, we go get a restraining order or even being from the streets. A woman can come to your house, flagging your tires, break windows, doing all kinds of shit, harassing you, baby mama drama, all the kind of shit. You go get a restraining order. Oh man, that's a bitch ass nigga. That's all this shit. But you don't hold women to the same standard, yet y'all want equality and y'all want somebody to feel bad for you.
Here's where I'll say, even if we take men, take take somebody local out of it, right? Women have a problem with Diddy, but how many of these women do you think is going to go to that Chris Brown concert?
Right. There you go.
You get what I'm saying?
They still pay
They
1,000 to after he done
to
beat
meet
every
and greet.
hitter up. Still pay 1,000 to go take a picture with him and lose their man. Well, lose
So
their man.
it's like So it's like for me, it's the picking and choosing of, well, this guy we don't like, but that guy, because he's light skinned and handsome, we gonna deal with him. But to me, it's like, well, if you're gonna be mad at this, just be mad at that. But I promise you, a lot of these women in these comment sections that's typing a lot of this stuff, they already got their tickets booked, their hotels reserved, and they finna be at Petco Park, they finna be in Vegas or wherever it is he finna be ducking and jiving at, doing that thing, just to and they're not finna say nothing about it. And even some of these men that pander to him, they not finna call out their homegirls and be like, hey, y'all was saying all this and all that about the diddler, but then when this guy come in town to perform, y'all act like y'all done forgot what he did. I can pull up the photos and show you what he did, man. Diddy got the video. I got the photos. I can show you what he did. So for me, it's just the picking and choosing of who we, and this guy's been convicted. You know
Right.
what I mean? Diddy ain't even been convicted yet, or it's still going through it. So for me, it's just the picking and choosing of who we choose to sit up here and be cool with. Like, oh, I can't defend Diddy, but they can go watch this dude sing and dance who I seen beat up a woman and got pictures of it. So that for me is where it's like y'all not consistent and y'all only want to hold people accountable for the stuff that you feel like you can hold me accountable. And I almost said that to some of these women, but I'm just like, what's the point? What's the purpose? They just going at that point, they just gonna end up calling me all types of names after that. You know what I mean? And that's the type of language that I don't like to get into. I don't really want to
Right.
argue. I just want to have a legitimate conversation. Like, why is it cool that you guys can show support for this guy? But then this guy, y'all all of a sudden he's like the worst case scenario. And for me, that's where for me the conversations that, like you said, accountability. There's a level of accountability just within the Black community that we just don't have, and it makes it difficult for us to have real, legitimate conversations.
I'd say this. I'd do you one better. How many of them still got R. Kelly on their playlist?
R. Kelly on, come on,
I
man.
mean, you listen, we gave him the pass the first time. Everybody seen the video with that young girl. Everybody could tell that's R. Kelly. He ain't got no double. He ain't got no
Mm-hmm.
doppelganger that good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her auntie Sparkle went on the stand. That is my
Mm-hmm.
niece. That's R. Kelly. He paid off the parents to say that that wasn't a child. Everybody could look at the picture and the video. So you mean to tell me R. Kelly got a double and she got a double, and then they just so happen to look exactly like the people that was on there, but she was minor, underage, peeing on her. I mean, you talk about grooming. And then even after all this surviving R. Kelly, where they gave the women a platform to tell their story, pissing and shitting in buckets in the dark, sitting in them rooms, they still a bump him and be like, well, I mean, that's just good music. It's not,
Yeah.
he's in prison, he got what he want. It's still good music. I don't even have
Yeah.
it on my playlist, right? Only thing he might be on a future of a couple artist songs that I like, but all his music, I kind of cut it out because of my own personal feelings and belief. But all the women still listening. But my other problem with this Cassie situation I just read, it said I talked about her sex abuse and all this stuff and how he beat her, did all this stuff, and then she was already dating her new boyfriend, and they went to have closure, right? They went to a closure dinner or something. They weren't even at her house. They had closure dinner or something, and then how did he end up in her home, raping her on the floor of her living room, and then walking off and leaving? Then they asked, well, after that, did y'all have sex again? She was like, well, we were together for 10 years. Yeah, we had sex again. We had a good night one night and all that. So once again, he's out of your life. You got a new man. He's out of your life. You got a new man, and you're supposed to be doing better. You're older. You're grown. You're an adult. are you enabling him? Like, do you is your okay? Two things: is your psychological so fucked up that he just got a hold on you and you can't say no, or do you like the shit? And not it's not to be in a disrespectful way, but like we grew up
Is
in
this what you
Dago.
like doing?
Right. Is this what you like doing? Because we grew up in Dago. Niggas have been around pimps and hoes their whole life. And, sometimes hoes, if you don't hit them, they don't feel like you care about them, right? So a nigga got to do something, they do something out of pocket to get beat up or something. Like, you keep going back to this man, you got a new man that's treating you well, that now you ended up marrying. But you ended up, if this guy was doing all kinds of stuff and abusive and all that, why did he end up in your home and you just having a closure dinner? That means it's supposed to be done, finito. Y'all, you let him get one for the books, then you let him hit again because y'all had a good night. What was you doing around this guy as a grown woman? And this dude ain't don't mean no wellness. Like,
This is
where's the
this is where I think
accountability?
this is where I think a lot of women would say that we just can't understand, right? The level of abuse that, some women have gone through. You know what I mean? This is where a woman's point of view or perspective probably will be a little bit better. You get what I'm saying? But I mostly agree with you. It doesn't make sense to me why you would go backwards, you get what I'm saying, or go back to that guy or to that person or to that situation or system that's abusing you. But I'm pretty sure there's a term for it. I'm not educated enough to really even know what it's called, but there is a term for someone who goes back to their abuser. You know what I mean? And I can't make sense of it. To me, I mostly agree with you, but I think this is where someone else could probably speak on it a lot better than us and try to explain to us why it happens. And what I think their logic would be is just because she did that doesn't invalidate what actually happened to her. That's usually the
Right.
argument that or the debate that I get
And
when
that's
I'm
still no
talking to people.
accountability. That's still no accountability. It's just excusing her behavior. And it's like, look, I'd rather you just tell me that it's an emotional distress and, psychologically and all that stuff. Don't give me an excuse for the behavior because that ain't an excuse and a real reason to do so. They two different things, right? I'm late to work because I got a nail in my tires is a real reason that I'm not coming. But waking up late, I didn't hear my alarm. That's an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give me no excuses. And it's like, I'm not trying to go hard on Cassie, but it's too many contradictions for me where it's like, all right, I'm trying to ride with you on this because like I know he a fucked up dude, and no woman like I mean, it take a special woman to want 13 men or 4 day freak off or random dude to bust on you and you go rubbing on a nigga chest or something like it take a real different kind of individual, and you gotta you could think about all the psychological mind fucks that he's been doing to her, right? But like you attended, but then when you was dating Kid Cudi, you attended the freak offs, so you attended on your own for fun while you dated other men. You like usually when a person get out of a situation, they start to heal from a situation that ain't no good for me, and I know that that was wrong. It's like now you want to go around. I mean, like introducing somebody to drugs, forcing them to use drugs. If he was forcing you to use drugs, and he forced you to, start off in the free course, and you just learn to like it and learn to deal with it, like psychologically, like I'm with you, like let him burn. But then it's just like, man, you got a new man. It's like, why? I just, men are too logical maybe to understand it, and that's the emotional part. But even from an emotional standpoint, don't give me no excuses. Just tell me that it's a, like you said, it's a term for the psychological effect that somebody would go back to the situation. But I don't know.
It's called Stockholm syndrome.
Okay.
Stockholm syndrome, a psychological coping mechanism that can develop in victims of captivity or abuse, causing them to identify with and develop positive feelings towards their captors.
Okay.
So there you have it. So that's the term that I'm sure if somebody's watching this, that's the term um that they would use. And that's what would force anyone, right, who's been in an abusive situation to go back, right? Because most people would say, "How come?" And there's just a term for it, scientific term. Stockholm syndrome is what would make someone. I can't imagine it. I have never endured that level of abuse, but that's where if anyone were to watch this, or when people watch this, or when they see people going back and forth on the internet, they don't understand. They would say you're being insensitive. It's because it's because of that.
Right. I just think men maybe too think with too much logic and women think with too much emotion to where
Way too much emotion.
it's like you're talking about, okay, they're overlooking all her wrong deeds and focusing on only what he did. And then your whole argument was the shit he did ain't the shit he being charged with. You know what I'm saying?
No, I haven't heard it yet. Now it's early in the trial, but I ain't heard none. Everything I've heard, we already kind of knew. And to me, pay 20 M's for that. So it's like I'm just not the type of man that just be like, hey, whatever the federal government says he did that shit. That's where for me it gets a little iffy. And for me, even with black people don't want to believe the federal government, especially not right now. They don't want to believe the federal government when it comes to anything. They only start listening to what the federal government got to say when a black man is on trial. Then all of a sudden, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But when the federal government tell them, I don't know, whatever it is they telling them, they be like, nah, we're not listening to that. You get what I'm saying? When it came to the shot, right? The federal government said what? You got to come and get this shot. A lot of black people was like, I ain't doing it. And that's cool if you consistent with not listening to the federal government, but you can't be like the federal government doesn't believe in us when it comes to this, but then when it comes to a black man on trial, everything they say is correct. So for
Right.
me, I'm like, just let me know which side you on.
And they
You know what I
want you to
mean?
hang a nigga.
Yeah, they want you to hang them every time. So if you on the side of if you don't believe that the federal government does right by black people, then don't believe it with in this situation. That's all I'm saying. Just be consistent. But we not finna be like, oh, when that they're telling the truth, but in that, nah, they're not telling the truth. And that's what I don't like. That's where I'm like, oh
It's
man,
just
like
they just it's just like they using the victim of okay, and not sex trafficking, but I mean, is it rape? Is it forcible forcing someone to commit sex acts? Is it drugging them? We ain't seen the baby oil with the drugs and it come to effect. We ain't seen a lot of things come to effect. And my whole point just on it is, at what point was she a victim, and at what point was she an enabler, right? Because I think that a victim becomes an enabler at some point. When you want to seek help, you'll go get help. Her mama knew what she was going through after a while. Her mom helped her write the book, but all the times that she wanted to be commit suicide or whatever she was saying. But then, did you like I haven't looked that far into it, I guess, to know, or she hasn't spoke about the help that she went and got or tried to get. Like, okay, he's bringing people to go help you. I mean, to go drag you back and stuff. But it's like, what happened to screaming for 911 or screaming for help if somebody's trying to grab you or something, making a scene? Like, do you want to go back, or you just want a little bit of freedom? Like, you went and got your own place and paid for it, right? So that you could have some say so. That's what she said. But okay, so you got some sense. So you want to do what you want to do and be a part of what's going on, but only at your say so, right? Okay, makes sense. But then to continue to be, I'm a victim. At this point, I'm like, she enabled a lot of the behavior, and I know they'll probably come after me for calling her an enabler. But I mean, I can't imagine what else you call somebody that gets out of a situation, got opportunity to be out of a situation. Like, look, man, getting beat up and all that shit. Everybody know right from wrong. Being a victim of sex abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse is all a real thing. Having the means, the financial means to get help and not seeking help, having, you went and got a supportive man and still like jump, stepping out on your dude, or even when y'all wasn't together, like Kid Cudi and I forgot who else she was dating, and she was still attending the parties. It's like you are at this point you enabling other people to be a part of it. You was a part of it before there was a Kid Cudi. Now you bringing him to the Diddy party.
well, somebody said, I forget who it was. I don't want to say nobody's name, but somebody said there actually are parts of, and I don't know this, I don't, there actually are parts of what she was doing where she was recruiting a lot of young black girls to these types of things. You know what I mean? And a lot of women aren't really talking about that. I gotta research that. I don't know that to be true, right? I'm just repeating
But
something that
she
I saw
definitely was bringing some people. So she brought other celebrities for sure that she was
other
dating
celebrities
and friends with. So
other female celebrities, and that's the part that I think a lot of women who are putting on the cape for her don't understand is the fact that she was with him. She probably greenlighted and made a lot of other women feel comfortable with joining in on a lot of that stuff simply because she was there. But nobody cares about that part. That's part is more than likely not going to be talked about as much. And even if they did bring it up, they would just skip over it.
And
You
it,
get what I'm saying?
and so and she, but that's how it always go. They never want the niggas, even the justice system, right? From child support, custody, and everything else down to um, what is it? Down to even crimes, right? Like hoeing, like, okay, you out there hoeing, the man gotta have coerced you to do it. So, give us your pimp and we just let you go. Same thing with this. It's like, okay, Cassie, her role in recruiting people and bringing people in, and they might have got drugged. They're on video. They're on camera. He got cameras everywhere. He blackmailing you with stuff, and now you bringing other people in. Where is your? If we was all men, we would all be a part of this indictment.
We'd all get in trouble for that
We'd
shit.
all get in trouble for it.
100%.
But
We'd
since it's
100%.
females, y'all always get the pass, and that's why they don't have to take accountability for it. And that word is so big in the women community, not just the minority one, because you see people making videos, white people, Asian people. The guy was like, "This is men accountability. I'm sorry, this is women." You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't no black dude that made that. So everybody's got this problem with it. But for me, it's like I gotta stay tuned. I'm gonna keep reading it, but like some of it is too much for my brain. Like I'm not that far into wanting to hear about the freak offs and 4 days, 17 men, and all the gay shit. And like it's just not. I ain't gay and I ain't against gay. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do what you want to do, whatever floats your boat. Diddy, I can never understand how a man have the whole world, how you could be worth a billion, private jets, homes on each side of the coast, different parts of the world, and could do anything in the world. And why you gotta steal money or sign your artists, your own black people to sleazy contracts and keep their masters forever and everything that he's doing that's legitimately legal in the business world. But
Hmm.
why you got to do all that and then you on your super crazy freak shit, and then why you got to try to hold people's tapes and stuff accountable, you trying to hold that shit and use it against people. Like I could never understand his
Power,
thought process.
power and control. Some people get off on that, man.
I
That's
hear
it.
you, but eventually, what the Malcolm X thing, and when the roosters come home to
The roosters got to come home and roost or something.
yeah, like when the shit hit the fan, you
Yeah,
always the one going down. It's like the money ain't protecting him. You know what I'm saying? If he beats his trial, that'd be one hell of a thing to be able to win just for the and it's like that they do it to all the big black moguls when they can. Like they got OJ, they tried to get Bill Cosby as long as they could. Technicality got him home quick, or however they did that shit on purpose. However, but all these big black celebrity moguls that step out of line, they all they
yeah,
you know they coming for all of us, right? And it's like they'll let you out a little bit before you ready to die. Give Diddy 20 years, 25, whatever. Like they gonna fuck R. Kelly as long as they can fuck him too. And it's like, well, I don't feel bad for him because you put yourself in a position to get, for this to happen to you. But like you said, everybody deserves a fair trial, right? You already black in America. Everybody deserves a fair trial. We need to stop condemning our people before it's time to condemn them.
yep.
100% to me.
And even if it ain't our people, we got to stop condemning our friends because they don't have the same opinion as us. That's the part that really be pissing me off. It'd be like just because I don't want to believe everything she up there saying on the stand, don't mean I'm worse than you or better than you. You know what I mean? That's the part that I think we missing is you can't even disagree with motherfuckers nowadays because as soon as you do, they acting like you some type of weirdo just because you might not believe everything she's saying or you might not believe everything the district attorney is saying. And that's where things can get really heated or where people get offended. And I'm just like, you don't even know these people. So what's it to you if I believe him or if I believe her? Like, why does it even matter to you? And how is that a reflection on the type of man that I am? You know
Right.
what I mean?
And
But that's what we're doing.
you can't believe everything she say because it's too many contradictions.
Too many.
That where even the DA they're asking these questions and she answer them
Mm-hmm.
all, and then she got an excuse, and it's like how it makes you look because then you coming back with an excuse like yeah he raped me on my floor, but then yeah oh yeah we got together again after that and we had a good night and ended up having sex. Damn, is you raped? Is you scared of this man? Or you went back to get raped again, or this, you enjoyed getting raped. Like, I hate to say that kind of stuff because people how do you enjoy getting raped and everything? There's a lot of rape victims that get raped. well, I guess, I can't compare the situation because they never met the person before, right? Or, they could have known the person and the person did it to them, but they go and get help, they get kits done, they get away from them and never fuck with them. That person go to jail, prison, whatever, right? Or they never get caught, or they got babies. All horrible situations. But I just can't imagine how you could have a man and you supposed to be with this man and this man rapes you, right? Supposedly, and you go back and have some fun sex with him after he took it from you the time before. Like it don't equate. Math got a math. Two plus two need to always equal four.
Don't think that part is ever going to make sense. At least to us, it's not. Like I said, though, that part of the conversation is where I would prefer for a woman to more than likely step in and maybe kind of educate us, or maybe there's some man out there that can kind of put it together in words in which I'm not good enough to say. But I hear what you're saying. It don't make sense to me, but I haven't been in that situation. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And what a lot of people say is unless you've been in that situation, you can't really understand it. But then that's where we can no longer have a real conversation because it's like, well, you don't know because you haven't been through it. And that's what people will tell you. So don't talk about it. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. So then how am I ever going to understand? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get an understanding of how someone can say this, but then this happened afterwards. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense to me. And, and for me, even without all the contradictory statements, I'm just not the type of man that wakes up in the morning believing 100% of anything anybody says. You know
right.
what I mean? So regardless, you could just wake up and tell me the sky is blue and it's 75 degrees in San Diego and the beach is nice. And in my mind, I'm thinking one of them things ain't true. You know what I mean? Like just how I live my life. Like I just automatically assume 100% of everything you told me ain't correct. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but that's
Everybody
just
got
my
a story.
everybody got a story and they embellishing somewhat on it, and that's okay. But so for me, I'm never gonna believe 100% of nothing what she say, but I also don't believe 100% of nothing what did he say, and I definitely don't believe 100% of what the federal government is saying. So having said that, I'm just gonna sit back, listen to see what they talking about, and make my assumptions based on what is actually coming out. But
Well, you know,
that's not the popular thing to do anymore.
well, you know what they say. I watched enough trials to know they say eyewitness testimony is different. Everybody sees it
Mhm.
different, right?
From
So
a different angle.
from a different angle, it's like everybody that encountered Jesus, a lot of them might tell you the same story, a similar story, but they tell you they experience it the same,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, okay, then you get more of the story when you put them all together. And okay, this person, he said this to this person after that person. They watched this, they watched that, but I mean, you always gotta, you gotta listen. There's two sides to every story, and it's the truth. So you always gotta hear both sides, and I guess, that's what the jury is for, convincing them of what actually happened, who's actually wrong,
Who's
or
actually guilty.
who's actually guilty, and what things are they actually guilty of. The
Yeah.
judge, you don't need that much to hold somebody over and charge them with it, but
Yep.
you're supposed to be able. It's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Like to convict somebody of a crime, it's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt that this person did that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's to be seen. A lot of people came out with their Diddy stories speaking on them. I seen Terrence Howard have one where Diddy was trying to recruit him into it. It's like, yeah, the dude, but that's a grown man. Like until they start bringing little kids in for me, and until they show where he illegally, you know, I mean, paying for sex is not illegal. Paying people to have sex with other people, I mean, paying for sex is illegal in some places, but it ain't a crime like that, right? I
Yep.
wouldn't call that. I mean, I don't know if that falls under sex trafficking, but paying escorts and they deciding that they're gonna have sex, whatever, for money. Like he's paying adults, people he didn't recruit them into escorting. I'm still trying to figure out where the human trafficking charges and all that come in. So until then, I guess we'll both stay tuned and we might be able to circle back. But I definitely wanted to talk to you about it because I'm like your comments, boy, you didn't even really say much, and they just seen what the messages said, and they just like, oh, I would expect this from you, and yada yada yada, and it's
I
like,
didn't say anything at all. I just shared I just shared what I had. That was all. I mean, what was being posted on the internet. That's it.
right,
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't even say that. Y'all don't even know my opinion one way or the other.
Right. Jump down on you. They just assume that you siding with the man. It's like, it's almost like all the men had logical stuff and they looking at it from our point of view. But I guess, we not often victims of sex crimes or
Sex
anything,
crime? Oh
right?
no, we not. Yeah,
We
men
not
aren't.
often, yeah, we not
We the
often
ones.
victims of it.
We the ones perpetrating it.
But then again, women abuse men too. They like to act like women don't hit they man, to act like women don't, low key force situations or, get on their dudes and do all kind of shit and manipulate the situations. Like women could psychologically control a weaker man for sure. So it's like well, not we've all, but both species, right, can be a victim of it, but since it's much more likely or more prevalent with them, we can never understand and we can't have a logical response to it. We just got to go with their emotional response. And if we don't agree with them, it's like the Trump thing. Like, I didn't vote Trump. I don't believe in Trump. I could care less about him. I didn't lose no friends. Like, if I had friends that voted Trump, I didn't say we can't be homies no more. But
Yep.
you got a lot of people that cut off their family, cut off their friends, and and even for this Diddy shit, they ready to go to bat with you. I seen them, they damn near ready to stop being friends with you. They waiting for you to say something crazy so that y'all, say something back to their response. And even then, it's like banter is good, but at what point can we speak and your emotion not get the best of you to where you say something that's disrespectful?
You can't with women, bro. That is just my experience. With women, you can't. If a man to man conversation, you could talk to men. There's always a level of respect amongst men, but women that just take it too far. Or the first thing they'll start saying is your rainbow or you're miserable or who hurt you or you don't like women or you don't like black women. Like as soon as they start saying stuff like that, it's like I can't even have a basic conversation because your first reaction is I hate women. And it's like, where do you pull that I hate women from? You know what I mean?
Be-
All because I'm just not agreeing with 100% of what you say. Like
Right.
that's where the control comes in. And it's just like, we can't even have real conversations.
One thing I'm gonna say before I let you go too is you get a lot of women, Christian based, whatever, read the Bible, and they don't really read the stuff that God say about women, how hard the Bible go again, on women, right? And it's like you ain't you tell us that we gay or we not this and that, right? Because we go hard on women or we don't like women or we just want to be around men. But if you pay attention to a lot of it, the Bible warn you about women and the things, and not all of them are deceitful, not all of them are bad people, not all of them are gonna try to get you involved in some crazy shit. But we should be weary of them. We should be weary of a woman scorn and the vindictiveness of what they're willing to do, how far they're willing to go. You can have a baby with them. I've seen plenty of time women get a baby off a man, and now she don't need him no more, and treat him like and don't want to let him see, or we just didn't work out. Now you can't see your kid because we didn't work out, or you gonna take your anger and frustrations out on our kid because you can't do nothing to me. Like, we should be weary of certain situations, and her being up on the stand after getting paid out. And I mean, I get it. You get subpoena, go ahead and tell your story, but why shouldn't I be weary of her testimony when she has a lot of conflict in there that, I mean, I guess even as a man, they should be graceful with us because they should be graceful with us because we don't understand. Just like how we give them grace on situations that they can't understand because we men, they can't think logically. We don't understand. So why don't we get the same grace?
Yeah, we're not gonna get the same grace.
You know, that's for sure. But man, yeah, I appreciate, what I'm saying, you coming on, you popping on me and giving me the conversation. I'm gonna take a lot of that into account that from a psychological point and emotional point, we not gonna understand it. Maybe we'll probably double back when it's all said and done. You know, I think, I'm not the police and I never condemn a nigga to go to prison, but any kind of sex crimes, rapes and shit like that, we ain't got no love for them on the street. So,
I feel
whatever
you.
whatever he get is whatever he get, but I'm gonna let you do your thing, man. Appreciate you, G.
All right, bro.
All right, stay up.
Later.
I'm a king.